Hello, welcome back to Cosmetics Anonymous. I am your favorite new Mrs. Claus, Bougie Vintage, and today's video is Botox. I am here to give your life a little bit of a lift, okay? Let's keep the fuckery to a minimum today, please. Hi, Bo. I hope you're doing well. I love your videos. You're literally amazing, and you're one of my fave YouTubers. Hearts for you. Your family is awesome too. I know, they're pretty great, aren't they? My name is Nunu and I have a sister problem. I know you had problems with your older sister before, so I know you can give great advice. Well, ain't that the truth, child? I done had problems with every damn body. My sister, Leo, Jesus, and I, Taurus, hey girl, have been fighting for about 2 years now. Background, we were pretty good growing up, but when we were in high school, she went loco due to all of her preparation for college. Due to financial problems, my parents pursued her to stay home for college. When it came my turn to go to college, I put my foot down. I knew I was going away for university. When Steve left for college in Blue's Clues. I was about to be so confused for a second. I'm like, how's she just gonna talk about Steve? Who the hell is Steve? Where's Steve come from? But she was literally talking about Steve from Blue's Clues. I did go away for college. I was on a champion sports team and I studied abroad. She has mentioned before that she was jealous that I got to go away and do all those things, but envy is a deadly sin and she needs to get her life. Fast forward to now. My sister, after graduating from college, took 2 gap years before getting into medical school. I got into pharmacy school as soon as I graduated, but I couldn't afford to start right away. The summer before my sister left, she asked me if we were friends and I simply said no. Girl, I can't. It was not in a mean way, but I don't tell her my secrets or how my day is going, so I don't think much of it. This girl went off. She told my mom that she was done with me and how she's done trying. I felt bad, so all that summer I was trying to figure out a way to make it up to her. I tried to talk to her and invite her for lunch so I can show my appreciation, then I gave up. I didn't expect for it to get worse. I thought we were getting better, but she started doing a lot of things with just our younger sister. It's okay, I have friends. I would say things to try to join into the conversation, but she would say things like, why the F am I talking? And no one cares what you're saying. I know, she's the oldest, right? What was the last straw with me was when she used one of my many purses and left it on the floor. I told her in an aggressive way, yo, put that shit where you found it. That's when she started to throw a lot of low blows. She was like, that's why you're ugly. Bitch, where? You have no friends and you're too dumb to get into school. That's what got to me, because she knew the reason why I wasn't in school, because I couldn't afford it. That's why I was going to beat her fucking ass. She said that if I hit her, she was going to call the police. If I got charged, I wouldn't be allowed to get into my profession. I stormed off and I cried. Let me tell you something. There's so many things I could have said. She's ugly. She has cystic acne, which caused her body dysmorphia. She used to go out with a child predator. She found out on the news that her ex was trying to lure young girls. She told my younger sister, who told me. And that she meets all of her BFs from Facebook. But I haven't, because I'm so nice. See, that's the thing about Taurus, honey. If we really genuinely love you, like, we're not gonna take it there unless, like, we absolutely have to. Sometimes we'll, like, bite our tongue just because, listen, child, the tongue is very dangerous. You gotta be careful what you say and who you say it to. Months have passed and we don't talk unless I have to give her money for the phone bill. 2 months ago, she texted me saying that she is going to be the bigger person because she is a Christian and how she forgives me, ha. I know how big forgiveness is for my own personal sanity, so I forgave her the day after, but when that happened, I was like, oh, hell nah. I wanted hands. Now, because she apologized, she tries to talk to me like we're friends, and I'm like, honestly, I can't trust anyone who would hurt me like that for no reason, and I don't want a relationship with her ever. My parents and my younger sister think I should get over it, but I'm fine with not really having a relationship with someone mentally unstable. Do you think my choice is okay? Listen, I done told you guys, if somebody is being toxic, you are not obligated to have a relationship with them, whether it's family, friends, it doesn't matter. If somebody is consistently being toxic and it's to the point where you've given them chances and they keep showing you who the fuck they are, and you keep giving them chances because you're refusing to believe them, that's totally on you. You don't have to be friends with your sister. Obviously, you're going to be cordial with her because she's family and you guys probably go to your parents' house for fucking dinner and shit like that, and so you have to be cordial. And maybe somewhere down the line, once you guys mature more, because to me there's a lot of maturity issues here, then you guys can work on your relationship. But until you guys address the problems that you have with each other head on, this is never going to go away. So your feelings are warranted. You definitely do not have to be her friends. Like, honestly, with my sisters, like, I talk to all of my sisters now. I don't really have an issue per se with anybody. But when I was going through my spat with my oldest sister, who I freaking love because she's a freaking Cap, and Capricorn's my favorite sign, but she's a cusp with Aquarius and chat. The Aquarius side of her chat is crazy, okay? Crazy, psycho bananas. And so that's the side that we get to see when I'm in the cupcake story time. But she is so funny and she's so fun to be around, and honestly, I never anticipated talking to her ever again after that incident, but it took my grandmother passing to bring us back together. When it comes to your sisters, you don't ever really want to be that distant from them, but that's just how it is. And every family has drama. Every family goes through stuff like that. So I just feel like it's not out of the ordinary that you guys are having issues right now. Maybe when you guys are older, like I said, and mature more, you guys can fix your relationship, but only if you both are willing to address your issues and her issues and talk about why you guys can't seem to get along. Because if every time you guys get into some kind of argument and she takes low blows at you and you're biting your tongue because you don't want to take you don't want to take that same route, what are you going to do, or how are you going to feel if you keep allowing her to do that to you? You're going to be upset and frustrated, and you're really not going to want to be friends with her, cordial with her, anything. And as a Taurus, I know that you have no problem cutting people off at the drop of a damn hat. Like, somebody does you wrong, you cut them off, period, point blank. You don't talk to them, you don't care about them, you don't think about them, they dead to you. And that's how I am. I feel like if you're going to hurt me, my walls are up, period. I don't care who the fuck you are. You cannot hurt me or try to say things to hurt me, especially if you know my triggers, and expect me to then, you know, be BFF with you again. Like, absolutely not. That's not cool ever. Because the way I see it is, if I wouldn't do it to somebody, I wouldn't expect them to do it to me. It's just that certain level of loyalty there. If you can't reciprocate the same energy towards each other, then your relationship just won't work. And you cannot force a relationship. And just because you guys were born at the same damn vagina doesn't mean that you have to force a relationship if it's not there. At the end of the day, you love your sister, she loves you, but sometimes it's better to just love from a distance. So this is gonna be about my boyfriend. Let's call him Donatello. He's Italian. We have been dating for 10 months and I am so in love with this man. He's just perfect. At first I thought it was some honeymoon shit, but damn. Obviously not everything has been perfect, but I honestly love everything about him. He is my best friend and he deals with my craziness. Haha. I know 10 months isn't considered long, but we've been through a lot, from fake friends to long distance because of college. We became extremely close like 2 months before we actually started dating, and about 1 month into the relationship I lost my virginity to him. I'm 18. Donatello is way more experienced than me. Donatello is so amazing that sometimes I feel I can't return the favor. So I was wondering if you have any advice for pleasing Donatello. Pleasing Donatello, because I feel like I'm basic when he goes all out. If this is like, girl, what, bitch? How you gonna ask me to please your man? You want me to get up here and show you how to ride dick? Like, what? Listen, girl, my advice to you is to go and watch porn, okay? Go and watch porn and learn some moves and impress your man, because I really don't know what you're asking me right now. Like, I don't know how to tell you to please your man. You know what? Go in his phone and see what kind of porn he watches, and then go watch those same porns and learn you something. And learn how to throw it back some, learn how to ride it, girl. Just do what you need to do to figure it out. I'm sure Donatello knows that you are not as experienced as him because you lost your virginity to him. But the other thing is, Donatello probably isn't really that experienced. It's just because you've never experienced anybody else that you think Donatello is the shit. But Donatello's probably not even that great. You just blindsided because he's your first. That's what usually happens. Like once you had your first and you're like, oh my god, the sex is so good. And then when you have your second, you're like, wait a damn minute, I thought my last guy was bomb. This ain't right. He wasn't shit. So that's my suggestion to you. Other than that, like, I'm not about to give you guys a full-blown demonstration on how I got pregnant. Like, it's just not a thing. I might be pregnant with baby number 3 right now. Long story. Hey babe, okay, so this is not a man problem for once. It's about a close friend of mine who I've been friends with for a long time. Like, I've been best friends with her since kindergarten. Let's call her T. So within the past couple of years, obviously I've been in high school and you get busy studying and shit, and that's just how it is. T is quite clingy and it has always been, while I'm quite the opposite, you know, being a Gemini and all. Anyways, the problem is she has some toxic things about her that make me reconsider being her friend. But at the same time, she also helps me. She's clingy, always brings me into her family issues, which I'll get into shortly, and she gets jealous. She does online school because she had issues making new friends at a real high school. But I have quite a few friends who I've met at my school and are very close with. But I can't tell about this because she gets jealous. I think she meant she can't tell her about it. An example of a situation that she became jealous is when I recently reconnected with my primary school best friend who T knew. I let her know I found my old best friend and I wanted to see her again. Big mistake. T said she wanted to tag along and I said sure because I was naive. T forced me to go make a group chat with all of us because she doesn't know how to use Instagram because she's very antisocial, obviously. She starts interrogating the girl I want to see again. Not in a like obviously jealous way, but in a way that she was asking so many questions and they were worded so specifically it was weird. Anyways, after all this, I privately messaged the girl who I wanted to see again saying stuff like, sorry, actually, can we just organize this between us two because T is acting a bit weird, aka jealous. And the girl agreed and I explained T's jealousy thing and she understood. I feel like such a bitch because now I'm closer with my old best friend than T because T was freaking me out with how jealous she was getting and it really ruined my mood. On top of this, I was on the phone with T at the time and she was trying to text this girl while talking to T at the same time and she demanded I send her screenshots of my private conversation with the other girl. I said no, obviously. Well, why did she even know you were having a private conversation to begin with? What the hell? Regarding her family problems, I feel guilty because she's going through a lot recently. Her mom literally turned mental after her father died and her family's falling apart. T forces her parents, who are not in a good mood for a while, to pick me up and take us places to hang out, and I started ghosting her because it was getting too much. I felt so intrusive, obviously. I'm so tired, but I feel so bad from trying to ditch her because I am her only friend and she's constantly texting me, hey, getting me to reply so we can talk, but I'm always tired and I don't want to deal with her. She's like a chore to deal with at this point. I'm always preoccupied with schoolwork during most of my time because yes, of course I care about my grades, but this girl does not understand. She always wants my attention and I'm not like that. I got more important stuff to do than text her, but she doesn't get it. I have better friends than her, but unfortunately many are moving away due to different reasons and I'm extremely sad about this too. But that's not what this is about, lol. Okay, so I feel like the only thing you can do in this situation is address T head on. You have to be like, T, look, I love you. I understand that you're not the most sociable person ever. And I get that you want to talk all the time and hang out, but we are polar opposites. And I am not like that. Just the same way you're telling me. A lot of times you guys tell me these things and you vent to me and I just feel like you're afraid to tell the person, but you literally have to just tell her like you're telling me. You don't have to call her jealous and say mean things to her, but you have to explain to her like, look, I want to be your friend, I want to hang out with you, I want to talk to you, but I can't talk to you all the time 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I need my space, my personal space. And I'm not pushing you away. I'm not trying to say I don't want to be friends with you. I want to make it very clear that I still want to be friends. I just need you to take it from 10 to like 2. You are at a 10. I need you at a freaking 2, okay? Because you're too up my ass. You don't say up my ass. I'm saying up my ass. Don't say up your ass, okay? Just let her know in the nicest way possible that she is being too clingy. And don't use the word clingy either. Tell her sometimes it makes you, sometimes, and these are key words you have to say, sometimes it makes you uncomfortable with how she acts when you talk about your other friends, because you're not my only friend. Even though I may be your only friend, you're not my only friend, and I have to, you know, spend time with those other people. Like the fact that she has to do online school, I've never heard anything like that in my life. Like when I was in school, child, if you couldn't make friends, you were just up in school and you was just doing your thing at the school. If you're by yourself, you're by yourself. I've never heard of anybody doing online school just because they had trouble making friends at school. It makes sense, but I just have never heard anything so crazy. So I think you should just break it to her in a very nice way. Perhaps in person, just like if you were breaking up with somebody. Tell her in person and talk to her in person. And if it's a thing where she just doesn't get it and she feels like you don't want to be friends with her and she kind of starts to cut you off or she starts to be cold and dry with you, then take it for what it is. Every once in a while, give her a chance, check up on her, and see how she responds to you if like there's a period where you guys stop talking. But you don't want it to be like awkward and like bad blood between you guys, because sometimes people just don't take things well, especially somebody like her who's clearly a little clingy and a little jealous. You have to be careful with how you say things to them, because sometimes the jealous people are psycho bananas and you don't have time for all that. So just be careful with what you say. Make sure you say it in person and really make sure she understands before y'all close the meeting, okay? Don't end the meeting if you feel like she doesn't get it, okay? That's really important. And make sure you give her a hug when you're done. As far as her family situation, just try to stay out of it. If she comes to you with it, just tell her that it makes you feel awkward, and just express to her your true feelings. Everybody needs to stop being afraid to say how they really feel. It's not even what you say, it's just how you say it. So keep that in mind when you're gonna tell somebody how you feel. Just try not to be mean about it. Try not to be too blunt. Even when you're fed up, just try to watch what you say. Hey, Bo, I really love you and your channel. Your family is honestly so adorable. Thank you very much. I look forward to hopefully having something as great as that one day. Oh yeah, and congrats on the little baby. I pray he or she is super healthy and happy. Thank you. So I'm just going to get into my question. Where do I go from here? I'm a 19-year-old girl about to turn 20, and honestly, I'm just scared and confused as to what to do next. I'm about to graduate from culinary school this upcoming April, and I'm hella nervous. I don't know if the culinary field is for me. I love making beautiful, great tasting dishes for people, but I don't know if I want to physically work my butt off like this for the rest of my life. Like, is it truly worth it? Like, I know I'm smart enough to do something else. Not that the culinary field is bad or anything. I truly kind of like it. Just what if I could do something incredible, you know? Or should I go to university and try to do something else? Travel, hopefully making some money at the same time. Honestly, I don't have a specific career in mind. I just know I want to be happy doing something I love, making hella money. I know what it's like to struggle for money, and I don't want that for myself. Honestly, I'm tired of working my butt off for these people that really don't give a shit about me for minimum wage. Like, bump that. I've worked on and off ever since I was in high school and able to work. I just feel so stuck. Like, I really want to do something different. Be someone different. I want to travel the world, meet new people, see new places, fall in love. I want it all, and I feel like when I graduate, my life is just gonna turn to shit. Honestly, right now, boys are not my priority. I know I want to settle down one day, but right now, I just want the best. I just want to be the best version of myself before I lock myself into anything serious. Like, what the hell do I have to bring to the table? I'm a 19-year-old girl who doesn't have her shit together financially, and or mentally. Sorry, I know this email is a bit long and confusing, but I really trust your opinion. The first thing I'm going to address is the fact that you're only 19, turning 20, and you feel that you have to have your shit together financially and mentally. Bitch, no. That's not how this works. You think at 20 I had it together? Bitch, no. I was busy partying, drinking, having a good old time, having sex, and just chilling, you know? So I personally don't feel that at 19 and 20 you have to have it together, and that's where your mentality is effed up, because if you feel that way, you're putting way too much pressure on yourself. You're a baby still. I'm a baby still, damn it. Like, so I just feel like you need to change that whole entire mindset. Don't even think about that right now, because you saying like what the hell do you have to bring to the table at your age, when you're in a relationship that early, you don't need to worry about what you're bringing to the table. You're just in the relationship to learn and have fun. And if your relationship goes long term, then it does. If it doesn't, who the fuck cares, you know? Plenty of fish in the sea, okay? Plenty of in the city. What did I tell you guys? Like, you don't have to be tied down to one person for 700 years if that's not something you're into, you know what I mean? So that's that on that. But the other thing is, I want you to think about why you went to culinary school to begin with. I'll use Shooter as an example because obviously he went to culinary school and he graduated. Shooter, before culinary school, he was working in a kitchen, but that was it. Like, it wasn't anything fucking special, you know? Even though he's working in a kitchen, he didn't have, or he wasn't gaining any proper experience because the job that he had was really stagnant. Now, because of that, and because I saw how much he loved food, and we were doing Shooter's kitchen and stuff, I was like, you have to go to school for this. You can't just be here willy-nilly, you know, because you could work in a kitchen all your damn life, because there was people that were working at his restaurant since like the damn freaking 1940s or whatever the hell the restaurant opened. They were like union workers, and so they were working there for a long time, and so their paycheck is obviously great because they were there since the fucking beginning, like since the restaurant opened. These old ladies, right? They're like waitresses, and so they would get paid really well. But he was in the kitchen, he was kitchen staff, and his job was so redundant, and he was so tired, and he was working at a company that didn't allow him to progress and move up. So he ended up quitting that job, and he ended up going to school, because I was like, you're so good at what you do, you love to cook. I don't see you being passionate about anything else except for video games and fucking food. You love to eat, you love to cook, you love to feed me. Like, cooking is your thing. That is what you need to do. You have to pursue it further. And so if it wasn't something that you were into beforehand and you just kind of entered it because you didn't know what else to do, then I do think that you should try it out. And if you say give it a year at whatever place you can get hired at, because you do have to have, I believe it's 6 years in, you need to get 6 years experience before you can actually become a chef. So I feel like you should go and do a year after you graduate, see if it's an environment you want to work at or in, and if it is, then continue to pursue it. But if it's not, then you need to figure out what else you are passionate about and go to school for that. That is the #1 mistake people make, I feel, when they jump from high school to college or university without necessarily knowing what the hell they want to do or what they're passionate about, and they just go to school because either their parents said they had to go or they just felt like that's the thing to do. If that's what happened to you, I can totally understand why you ended up in culinary and now you're not sure if it's something you're even really passionate about. Like, you know you're passionate about something. You just know. With stuff like that, you might end up in a position where you're working at like a dead-end restaurant and there's no room to move up in the company. And so when Shooter first got out of school, he was basically working at a restaurant that was in a sense dead end, and it was a really small restaurant. It was like family owned and stuff, and they were quite busy, but there was no room for him to move up. They already had their head chef and whoever else was on the line, and they weren't really doing much hiring. So there was no room to move up. Whereas where he works now, he started there. Has he been there a year yet? I don't think he's I don't know how long he's been working there. The point is though that very quickly, because he's so good at what he does, because he's one of the only people, only like maybe 4 people out of like a 30 or 20 kitchen staff have their actual diploma and stuff. And so he's one of those people, and so he's gone from he started at grill master basically, which nobody starts at grill master, and he's moved all the way up, and now he's one of the leaders in his kitchen. He's always talking to me about salaries and stuff, and he's always telling me about where he wants to go, and he's also always telling me where his boss wants him to be. His boss wants him to be sous chef. And so if you're working in a place that gives you opportunity for growth, then it might be worthwhile for you. But if you end up at a different type of kitchen or somewhere that you don't really get to grow, you might not feel so passionate about it after all. Because when he was working at the other place, I could see that he was frustrated going to work, because he was like, ugh, this again, you know? But now he's really happy. Every time he comes home from work, he's telling me about his day, he's telling me about his job, he's telling me all this stuff, and I'm just like, thank you, Jesus. Like, I'm so glad he finally got to do what he loves to do. And he feels the same way. Well, he doesn't make minimum wage because of where he started and how he's been promoted. I think it's just about where you apply and where you get a job, because when you start, you don't have to get minimum wage. You can ask for a certain wage because you have your diploma. If they decide they don't want to give it to you, then you don't work there. But I mean, somebody gonna say yes. Kitchens are so understaffed right now. It's not even funny. Like, they're mad understaffed. So you may be able to get what you need. But I also think because you're so young too, you have to realize that your age is going to play a factor, and you have to put your pride to the side. Nobody wants to make minimum wage, because minimum wage is barely enough to freaking afford a place to live. Like, let's keep it a buck here. So nobody wants to make minimum wage, but you can't turn your nose up to minimum wage just because you don't want to make that. Unless you have a business mind and can start your own business and make that shit pop, you cannot complain about minimum wage. It's just what it is. I didn't like working for minimum wage either, but I did it because I had to. There was no option for me but to go to work. So you don't like it, you don't want to do it, but at the end of the day, if you need funds, you're gonna take your ass to work, because that's just what it is. You're still young, you still have a lot of growing to do, so I just feel like you should take it easy, pursue your culinary since that's what you have your diploma in. I mean, do you really want to spend the rest of your life in school? No, you already have a degree or whatever it is you have. You already have your diploma, so I would say to pursue that. But if it's really to the point where you're in there for a year and you feel like this is a waste of your time, or you don't have the passion for it for real, then pursue something else. There's no shame in going back to school, especially because you're so young. It's good that you graduated as early as you did, because now if you do another year and you go back to school at 21, 22, you're still young. Most people are not in their careers until mid-20s, damn 30s. I know people that weren't in their freaking careers until they were in their 40s. Everybody's life pace is different, and you can't be looking at other people, your friends or whoever, and be like, oh my god, they're there and I'm not. Like, fuck them. Who the fuck cares? That ain't got shit to do with you. You are only to worry about yourself and, you know, like you said, being the best version of yourself. Stop stressing yourself out, because that's all you're freaking doing. Hey Bo, my name is India. I'm a 21-year-old with severe self-esteem issues. I am physically disabled, and for the majority of my life, I have felt like I am not good enough for anything. That's so sad. I have been in 2 abusive relationships that broke my self-esteem to the point where it's non-existent. I sadly believe that me being disabled makes me unattractive. I've never had a guy be interested in me for me, or even treat me with some decency and respect. I sometimes believe if I was not disabled, then maybe I'd get treated better. I know that men can pick up on when a woman has low self-esteem. That is so true. And I want to change the way I view myself, not just for dating, but because I know that self-love is the best love anyone could have. Unfortunately, I have been broken to the point where I do not know who I am anymore, and I am lost on how to rebuild myself up from all the abuse and mistreatment I've endured. Do you have any advice on building confidence and finding self-love? It would be greatly appreciated. You know what? The first thing I felt when I started reading this was that you feel sorry for yourself. And that's something that you really have to reverse. You need to stop feeling sorry for yourself, because you mentioned more than once in here that you're disabled and you feel like that's why you're being mistreated. Because you are disabled does not mean you are a lesser person. It does not mean you don't deserve the best things in life. It is a part of who you are, but it is not who you are. You are so much more than your disability, whatever it is. And I feel like there's so many other people that are disabled, but they still get up every day and they do what they need to do and they feel good. Even if they're pretending for 5 minutes, they feel something. There's a lot of disabled YouTubers and people with like literally physical problems. They're like wheeling themselves around in chairs. There's a girl with no arms. Like, there's lots of different disabled people on YouTube, and they get on YouTube and they beat their face, and people probably leave mean comments, and obviously they have plenty of supporters because people like to see people progress that way. People like to see, just because this person is disabled, just because this person has a physical defect, they still sat up there on their camera and beat the hell out of their face better than damn me, okay? And so I feel like you should try to find those people on YouTube and look at them and be like, wow, if she can get up there and do that, what is my excuse? Like, why do I feel sorry for myself? Things could be worse. And I'm not saying that whatever you are going through is not warranted. I'm not saying that, you know, you don't have it bad. But what I'm saying is you have to stop beating yourself up about the inevitable. If it's something that you've been living with for a long time, when are you going to just accept it and not move on, but stop letting it control you? Stop letting it own you. Stop letting it rule your world, your universe. I feel like for you, therapy would be really, really good. People don't give therapy enough credit. I feel like you have a lot of soul searching to do, and I feel like until you do those things, until you get that out of your system, you're not going to be able to move forward with your life. As far as men go, the men that you're attracting, the abusers, they may be attracted to you because they view you as weak already. So they know that they can come in, sweet talk you in the beginning, and then somewhere down the line just switch up on you and treat you like you ain't shit. And of course, because you're already disabled and you're already in your head feeling worthless, they know that they can add to that. And it makes them feel stronger. And so I'm not going to tell you to steer clear of men, but I'm going to tell you to look out for the same attributes, because I'm sure that one abuser reflected the other. I'm sure that you probably noticed things in the beginning, and obviously not with the first person, but with the second person, you noticed things and you still went into that relationship because you either ignored it, or you felt like, hi Munch, or you felt like you were tripping in a sense, or you were reading things the wrong way. No, trust your instinct, trust your gut, and look out for the clear signs. I'll use somebody like Future as an example. He is so disgusting, and he's definitely a master manipulator. He's misogynistic. He is all around abusive. The first time that I realized he was abusive was because I don't really be paying attention to these damn celebrities. I mean, I'm always in the shade room comments, but I don't like follow celebrities. Like, if you look at my Instagram following list, I follow like probably not even 10 celebrities. I don't care about them. The first time I knew that he was abusive was when he had subliminally posted if his ex was going to cry in the Phantom or in her Nissan. And I was like, huh? And then another post ensued where he was saying, where she had posted that she's basically moved on and that whatever he's doing is none of her business. And he went on Instagram making a video and he's like, basically said, I'm so proud of you. Basically throwing out sarcasm, passive aggressiveness. Like, it was so disgusting. Talking about one monkey don't stop the show. Like, he is an abuser, period. And so you have to look out for signs like that. Does this person you're talking to remind you of the last person? If so, run, you know? Self-esteem is something that takes a long time to build, period. But if it's been ripped away from you, it takes even longer to rebuild it. The one thing you have to do though is, one, forgive for your own self, and two, try not to dwell on the past, because it's already gone. You know, it's not going to repeat itself unless you allow it to. So you have to really pay attention, really start working on yourself, do things that make you feel good, and start living your best life for you. Stop thinking about what people might think of you because you're disabled. Stop thinking about how things used to be in your past relationships and just focus on right now, because right now is all that you are guaranteed. You ain't guaranteed tomorrow, okay? So you need to just focus on the right now. Go to therapy, work on yourself, and stop feeling sorry for yourself, and stop using the fact that you're disabled as not a crutch, but as a reason to make yourself feel less than you are. Obviously I'm not disabled, so I mean, my back hurt, but obviously I'm not disabled, you know, so I can't speak from that perspective. But Shooter's disabled, and you know, he gets up every day. Shooter thinks he's the sexiest motherfucker walking on this damn earth, and he's not, so he needs to relax. But he's disabled, and in the beginning when he first got disabled, I saw how frustrated he was. Like, the man, don't tell him I told you, but he was crying his eyes out because he couldn't put on his boxers or his socks, and he was so frustrated. And I wouldn't say that, you know, his self-esteem was low or anything like that, but I get where you're coming from, just because I saw how it mentally affected him. It was something I never saw before, and I felt bad, but at the same time I was personally getting frustrated too, because I'm just like, you don't have to let this rule you. Ask for help. That's number one, because I will put your boxes on for you if you need me to. But two, the more you get frustrated, the longer it's going to take you to even be able to rehabilitate yourself, because he actually was supposed to be in rehab for a while, and he decided he didn't need it. So it was his fault. But I could tell that he was definitely frustrated and probably feeling a little bit sorry for himself, and and then at one point he was using his disability as an excuse for certain things, and I was like, absolutely not. Because I know you're a freaking warrior, and I know your strength. I know what you can do. You need to push through that and get over that little freaking, you know, hunch, and start living for you. That's my advice. I don't know really what else to tell you, and hopefully that was good enough, chair.